There is a category of person that didn't exist 5 years ago. They work alone. They have no employees, no office, no investors. Some of them have a laptop and a phone plan. And some of them are generating more revenue per month than a small agency, with none of the overhead. This isn't about hustle. It's not about working harder. It's about a specific operating model that AI made possible, one that most people haven't seen laid out clearly. This video maps the full architecture of that model, every component, how they connect, where the leverage lives, and exactly where most people stall. Every one-person AI business, regardless of what it sells, runs on the same underlying architecture. Strip away the specific niche and the specific tools, and the structure is identical. There are 3 layers. The input layer is everything you bring: your domain knowledge, your time, and the AI tools you use. The engine layer is how you convert inputs into outputs. The output layer is what actually generates revenue. Most people focus entirely on the output layer and ignore the other 2. That's the first structural mistake. Optimizing your outputs, better deliverables, faster turnaround, gives you linear returns. Optimizing your engine and your input stack gives you compounding returns. The input stack has 3 components and they don't contribute equally. Domain expertise is the foundation. It's what determines whether your AI outputs are actually valuable or just plausible-sounding noise. AI tool proficiency is the multiplier. It determines how fast you can convert expertise into output. Distribution access is the ceiling. It determines the maximum size of the market you can reach. Most people in 2026 have reasonable AI tool proficiency. It's table stakes. What separates the operators generating serious revenue is that they combined AI with genuine depth in a specific field. The AI amplifies the expertise. Without the expertise, you're just producing faster noise. The operators who stall early almost always have shallow domain expertise in a generic category: copywriting, social media, basic design. The ones who break through have deep expertise in something specific enough that most people can't replicate the output even with the same AI tools. Distribution access is the third input, and the one most people build last, when they should build it first. Distribution means the size of the audience that trusts you enough to pay attention when you recommend something. Without distribution, even excellent outputs have no market to reach. The engine is where the actual work happens. It has 4 components: intake, production, quality gate, and delivery. In a traditional service business, each of these is bottlenecked by human hours. In a one-person AI business, 3 of the 4 can be partially automated, which is where the leverage comes from. The quality gate is the one component that can't be fully automated, and that's actually the point. The reason AI-augmented services are worth what they charge is that a human with domain expertise is making the judgment calls. Remove that and you have a commodity. Keep it and you have a defensible product. The operators who try to automate the quality gate, to remove human judgment from the output, consistently find that their clients notice, their retention drops, and their referrals dry up. The ones who automate everything except the judgment call find that clients pay more and stay longer. The output layer has its own architecture. Most one-person operators start at the bottom: services, where they trade time for money. Some build to the middle: content, which builds an audience that generates attention. The ones who reach the top have built products, assets that generate revenue without requiring proportional time input. The critical insight is that these 3 output types aren't alternatives. They're a sequence. Services fund the business while you build content. Content builds the audience you need to sell products. Products generate the recurring revenue that reduces dependence on services. Skipping steps doesn't work. This is why most one-person AI businesses plateau early. They stay in services indefinitely, comfortable with the revenue, reluctant to invest time in content or products that won't pay off for months. The plateau isn't a market problem, it's a structure problem. The operating model runs on 2 cash flow loops: an inner operational loop and an outer strategic loop. The inner loop is immediate. Client revenue funds better tools and time, which improves output quality, which retains clients and attracts referrals, which funds more client revenue. This loop runs weekly. The outer loop is strategic and slower. Content investment builds audience over months. Audience converts to product revenue. Product revenue funds more content investment. This loop runs quarterly or annually. Most operators only run the inner loop. The ones who build durable businesses run both simultaneously. The reason this matters: if you're only running the inner loop, your business is entirely dependent on client retention. One client leaving is a revenue event. If you're running both loops, client churn is a problem, but product revenue provides a floor. The floor is what allows you to say no to bad clients, raise prices, and invest in the outer loop without panic. There are 4 leverage points in the model, places where small investments produce outsized returns. Operators who find them scale. Operators who miss them plateau. Leverage point 1, domain specificity. Every time you narrow your niche, from copywriting to SaaS copywriting to SaaS onboarding email copywriting, 2 things happen simultaneously. Your price goes up because you're rarer, and your retention goes up because clients who need exactly what you do have no substitute. Narrowing feels like risk. It's actually leverage. Leverage point 2, systematized quality. Every time you run your quality gate, you're making judgment calls. The operators who document those calls, who write down the criteria, the patterns, the decisions, are building something they can eventually sell. A systematized quality process becomes a course, a template, a consulting engagement. The work of running the gate is also the work of building the product. Leverage point 3, audience before product. The worst time to build an audience is after you've already built the product. The best time is before. Every piece of content you produce while running your service business is building the distribution you'll use to launch the product. The 2 activities are the same investment, running in parallel. Leverage point 4, price is signal. In AI services, price communicates positioning before a client reads a single word of your proposal. Low prices signal commodity. High prices signal expertise. The counterintuitive finding is that raising prices often increases close rate in AI services, because the market is saturated with cheap, undifferentiated options, and buyers are actively searching for a reason to trust a provider. Every one-person AI business stalls at one of 3 points. Knowing which one you're at determines the fix. Stall point 1, shallow domain. The business starts, gets early clients, and then growth stops. The output is good enough to get clients, but not good enough to command premium prices or generate strong referrals. The fix is not better AI tools. It's deeper domain investment. Pick the adjacent expertise you're closest to and spend 90 days going deep on it. Stall point 2, the services trap. This is the most common stall and the hardest to escape. Revenue is good, time is full, and there's no capacity to invest in content or products. The business is essentially a high-paying job. The fix is a deliberate capacity carve-out, 20% of weekly hours ring-fenced for content and product development, treated as non-negotiable as client delivery. Stall point 3, automated quality. The operator automates the quality gate to increase throughput and discovers that retention drops. The fix is recognizing that the quality gate is not a bottleneck to eliminate. It's the product to protect. Automate intake, automate production, automate delivery. Never automate the judgment call. The one-person AI business is not a hustle strategy. It's an operating model with specific components, specific leverage points, and specific failure modes. The people generating serious revenue from it didn't stumble into it. They built each component deliberately, in sequence, and they kept the quality gate human. The build order matters more than the tools. Operators who get the order right compound. Operators who get it wrong rebuild from scratch every 6 months. The first 12 months feel slow because they are slow. You're building a machine, not running one. The operators who quit during the build phase never find out what the machine produces when it runs. If this gave you a clearer picture of what the operating model actually looks like, the architecture, not the inspiration, that's what this channel is. Every video is built the same way. Pick a phenomenon that's generating real outcomes for real people. Strip out the hype and map the actual mechanics. Subscribe if that's what you're looking for.